I was born in Edmonton and raised in the Yukon. I follow my mother who lives in the Yukon. My father lives in Swan River Nation. They both passed away. I really loved the knowledge that Lloyd put out here. My father also passed away just next door upstairs from the snake pit. So that story hits close to my heart. But I've been homeless too since I was like 10 years old till I was 55 years old, off and on. Like, as a child in the Yukon, minus 40 below, living in furnace rooms, mattresses, or wherever I could find. Then I moved to the city, and I never ever did live in shelters. I just wandered the streets, and I became diabetic too. And I learned about going to the shelters and stuff to eat, and the shelters, and all these food lines and everything, they just serve like sugar stuff. They don't have like healthy meals like fruits and vegetables and meat and that. They get the whatever's left out there, and it's hard for the people who are sick on the street. And they want doctor tells them to eat. Some of them can't even go to the doctor. I didn't even know that there was support out there when I was out there, and I've been 10 years clean and sober now, and and I want to pay it forward. As I'm a community support worker, I want to support the homeless people, the people on the street. They're really dear to my heart. As I walk down there, they're somebody to me. They're somebody's child, they're somebody's brother, son, they're a person. And yes, we deserve that autonomy to live our life. We have all these people in jail or in the shelters, and you can do this, you can do that. Oh, you can have this cup of coffee now. You can have this cup of coffee, tonight, but you can't, not when they want it. So it's pretty difficult to live. Society is a really horrible place to live, because society looks down on each other. Especially you walk down the streets, and then we're now, because of the COVID is happening, and now all the prices are jacked up, and kicking all the people that did have houses are being kicked out on the street. And then the opioid is taking over. I've seen so many people that gotten frostbitten hands, frostbitten feet, because they turn to opioids, and then they go on the nod. In the winter time, they get frostbitten, and and then you see all these people that were walking around, they're all in wheelchairs now, or walkers. They're, because of frostbitten, they got to get their toes cut off, or my father had his thumb in that cut off. And we do. And the homes, yes, we need. Whoever did that chant and that, you did. We did need. I don't know who that is, but God bless him. And maybe he could come over and join us. And I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the chant that we did is really good. Like we do need housing that's affordable housing where we can all, they're making community houses and all that right now, but some of them work, but a lot of them doesn't, because they get there. The children were snatched out of my arms when they were young, and that kind of broke me, and I was lost. I was angry. I was hateful. you know, I wanted revenge, and the government and the police, you know, were wrecking all of us, you know, people that come from the reserves or the communities, and that, you know, they took their children residential school. I went to that 2 years, and my family went to, you know, they went to the residential school. They lived there. They didn't know how to be a parent, and when, you know, I was parentified, and there's a lot of people still being parentified because they lost what they had, and became victims. They lived in the victims, and now that the children have been found in the Kamloops, you know, it started like the truth is starting to come out, and then there's a glimmer of hope, and my community is like the residential school is knocked down now, but everybody there is either in the city or not, because they can't, there's that darkness. But every year I go there, there's healing is beginning to come back. They're starting to drum, and they're starting to build canoes, and doing the carving and singing, and you know, there's no more wearing red, they're wearing orange. There's healing, you know, and you know, all the Indigenous people are going to walk together once again. You know, what was taken is going to come back, and the love, yes, there was love, and you know, I hated the people when I was on the streets, but now I just love everybody, and that love will just be like a ripple. If you can love somebody, be kind to someone, you know, they might be angry enough, but that might be the only time that they feel love, is if you tell them, oh, hey, or what you do, bro, or you do, you know, like how are you? Some of them come up to you and want to give you a hug, you know, hug them, you know. That's the only time that they might have been hugged in years or ever in their life. We need community, and we need each other, and I just want to thank you. Thank you. Good